Hey, my name is Ryan. I'm one of the co-founders of Ops Kings, and what we do is we work with businesses that are like they've solved for marketing and sales or client acquisition, and the founder is like worried about fulfillment. So this could show up in a number of different ways. So it could show up as I just need to hire A players, or like it could show up as ClickUp is really slow, or it could show up as my ops is messy, my fulfillment's messy. Sometimes the founders are getting like pulled directly back into fulfillment, and the way that we solve that problem is we work on both the operational side, like the kind of the process, the people, how people are paid, the org chart, how management happens, as well as the tech side. So what that looks like is like a custom operating system, so your business can work like a factory, right? And so what we tend to do over time of dealing with a company is we'll transfer more and more thinking and work from their team and the management into technology, into like an automation, into a dashboard, into a client portal, and then what happens as a result is clients, primarily the owners and the executives, they have more energy to think about how to actually improve the offer, do more marketing, they get better results for clients, and what that tends to happen is then more and more people come in and buy things, and then other problems, other bottlenecks surface in their business as well. So really we focus on primarily how do we grow our clients' companies. So that's the short-term growth. Second thing we focus on is reclaiming the time for executives and owners, because we know if we give you time as an owner, you're going to find really creative ways to grow the company. And then the third and last thing we focus on is how can we take the things that are done by the people day to day and bake more and more of those things into the operating system that works for your company. And so that's like the long-term growth. That's the how do we triple or quadruple the company without adding headcount. That last part is what enables or what is enabled by taking more of like the team's time. So that is what we do at Ops Kings, and we work with a number of like really cool businesses. The people who tend to not get results they come in and they're like, hey, I just started my business. Can you like automate everything for me so I don't have to like run a business at all? That's hopefully you're not thinking that if you're watching this. The people we get really good results for are they initially have traction. So sometimes probably around $1 million a year is where we would start to create a lot of really good value. We have some clients now that are like $30 to $50 million a year, and where people hit that ceiling of like, wow, fulfillment is really breaking, depends a lot on the offer, how their team is structured, and things like that. But that's one attribute of clients we get the most value for. We create the most value for. Another one is like they want to really grow, right? So some people want to grow, want to have like a 2-person business with just them and the co-founder, and like that's totally cool. It's not really for us in terms of value we can provide. The kind of companies that tend to get the best results, like they want to be a big serious company. They want to, not a 10,000 person company, but they really want to make something big and cool and sophisticated in their process. So they act fast. They are excited about using their business as like a vehicle for growth. So it tends to be a lot of bros, a lot of dudes who are really hyped about growth. And then sometimes we're approached by the COO or like the person who's in charge of operations because they're feeling really overwhelmed. So sometimes it's the owner who comes to us, sometimes it's the director of operations. And then we have sometimes where there's a team lead from an enterprise where the team is more or less a little business within the business. The industries are all over the place. We've had a lot of deals from inbound, so we're constantly surprised by some of the wacky businesses our clients have. A lot of like logistics, recruiting, manufacturing, home services, real estate, and we have for example, we have a company that sells they do logistics for like oxygen tanks and meltables, chocolate bars, things that Amazon will fulfill. We have one that does distribution for artificial skin, so it's a medical product. We have SEO companies and lead generation companies and whatever else. So we target a problem, and the problem we target is the owner feels like the business should be easier to run and easier to scale, but they're unable to grow. We don't limit ourselves to a specific industry, although we've had really, really great case studies, I think, because of getting good results for one person in an industry, and then they tell their friends. In terms of like the problem of how do you scale, I think there's a couple of really, really good solutions. So one is, I'll say, like, if you're able to scale, you shouldn't hire us. You shouldn't book a call. If you're able to add more clients and like this is not it's not an issue for you. If you're constrained primarily by you can't get enough leads, I would say keep iterating on your offer, keep testing new marketing, try to get results, because I think that's the best way to do it. If your fulfillment is working, I would say don't change it just for the sake of changing it, just for funsies. The kind of people who I think need to do something about operations generally they're either going to go for like hire an operator, and I think that's a great solution. They're sometimes they want to change a bunch of different project management tools, and I'll kind of speak to that. But I think the best solution, broadly speaking, is to recognize that you can hire people to manage a team and to do operations, but those people they are going to be super motivated and caffeinated for a few months, but they eventually will get tired or burn out or want to get paid more and more as you load responsibility onto them. And there's no such thing as a perfect project management tool. So the combo that we found works the best is take your existing owner, operator, COO, whoever that is, and slowly take their knowledge or your knowledge about your process and bake that into an operating system. And so the person's job really shouldn't be like assigning tasks or messing around with apps. Like we don't think that your team or your executives should be like the maintenance man for the factory. We think you should be the director looking at graphs and thinking about, let's train these people, let's switch these people's roles around, let's mentor some people, rather than like assigning tasks and like directly maintaining the system. So if you're finding that your operations are slowing down, what we find is like this, the benefit and growth you get from just mental clarity is huge. And so if you want to solve that problem, we have some amazing case studies of people that have been just like you, who have initially been skeptical about like, oh, is the price worth it? Is the time frame worth it? It's a lot of work to create an operating system. And they've been skeptical about those things. You can see all their testimonials on our website. They've paid us a lot of money and they've grown a lot too. So what we found is that growth happens 2 to 3 times, sometimes 5 times or more per year in terms of the growth that people experience once they release their thinking and the thinking of their team, and that is controlled by an operating system. Their clients get better results, and so retention improves. People start to get really, really slick results with having like a client portal versus a sort of ad hoc communication. And their team, the most valuable team members, so like those directors of operations, we have had many conversations with operations people who are super stressed, on the verge of quitting, have thought about quitting, are burning out, haven't taken holidays in years. And the really cool thing is when you pair, I think, if you pair operations with automation, you get a really, really sweet combination of scale. And so what we've seen, and if you want to scale in 2026, right? What we've seen is it's more expensive and slower than you think, but at the end, after 3 to 6 months of it, you'll be shocked at how easy it is to scale with relatively little crazy tech and crazy automations and whiz bang stuff. Like if you just get data and the kind of factory model working, You slowly start to ramp up the scale of that, and you'd be shocked at how efficient your team and your business can be, how happy your clients can be, how happy your team is when they can finally relax and take some holiday. And you probably, if you're watching this, you probably have a little hint in your mind that your team, your business should be easier to run than it is, right? You should be able to sign a client and just have your team take care of it. You probably have that sense already. And I'll say, the longer you wait to do something about it, the more your team is just underproducing, the more your best team members are at risk of burning out. The more your clients will leave and not tell you why, or will not upsell, and they won't tell you why. They're not going to say, well, it's because you don't have, I can't trust your client reporting. It's because your team is not reliable at getting things done on time and high quality. They're not going to tell you that. And you probably won't even realize fully how much growth you're leaving on the table by just you constantly being worried about fulfillment happening. The problem is that happens, that cost happens every single day without you even fully realizing how much it's affecting you. And so the thing that the largest business owners have in common is they work on systems. They're constantly working on getting better and better and better every single day. And if you want to join them, I think it's really important to do so. And I can't tell you whether you have to or not. That's up to you as a business owner. But we have been shocked at how much of an impact this makes for businesses. And I hope that you'll get to experience that too. So that's it. Do the thing. Book the call. Check the link. Whatever it is. Peace.